Hello, this is Nicholas Webb, and I'm here talking about, the Digimon CCG. It was a decent game. I honestly had a lot of fun with it. I just wish it would have evolved a little bit faster and not get canceled because, you know, they could cancel it. It was kind of like they got canceled a few months before the Japanese release, I think, of Digimon Season 5, and this was one of the better Digimon card games you could get. Now, granted, it is looking at these cards now. These are kind of the sorceries, instant, trap, whatever you want to call them, like whatever you're most familiar with. But these are kind of the non-Digimon cards that I'm going through at the moment, and a lot of times they didn't make much sense with how they were supposed to work, so they didn't really work. You read the effect, it didn't really matter most of the time. Sometimes the effects made sense, and other times you're wondering why using a giant sword kills your Digimon. And then the Digidestin saying it was kind of weird. It was only useful in battle, and the battles were, and they had a little problem of, they had too many times to attack cards. So right now you can see I have one of the special cards they had put out, which came with Digimon World 4. This was a fun card. I enjoyed it. I came up with a cute combo where I actually hit them upside the head with something with this guy, and then digivolved him into Lilymon, which was next to impossible to hit. He was one of the hardest Digimon to hit directly. So you can see, I had the rookie cards, I had Champion, Ultimate. Well, kind of skipped over those, but yeah, champions, and there's like ultimate cards even. There was somewhere around here. Oh yeah, here's some ultimate shell, guys can see, and then the megas, and the game had some really neat stuff about it, but it wasn't really a Digimon game. They basically made the effects of the cards of each Digimon was more dependent on what they could get away with. It didn't necessarily have anything to do with the Digimon. So, like, if you look over there, you see there's of my hybrid warriors. That was the set that came from the hybrid cards, which those are some of the more interesting cards. And then you go out there and you got your you can see down on the screen, these two cards are horrible. You can see my fingers now. These two cards are ultimate when they're supposed to be mega level, and all kinds of things like that. They made a decent game, but they didn't really fact check it, and they let the game dictate the effects more than Digimon. And like the X Antibody is what I'm on now, was like extremely overpowered. It basically was one of the things that ruined, I think it made the game where it wasn't really playable. I mean, I stopped enjoying it because we kept having like, oh, you get an X Digimon and your opponent has an X Digimon out, and the way they ruled it was kind of silly, was that they all the the rookies and stuff, like, you get one little rookie out, and suddenly, if that Digimon does anything dealing with another Digimon, that any other Digimon's ability gets neutralized, no matter what. So, it's kind of like, alright, I shouldn't be, the player should, there's effects that say, well, you can't call attacks or something. So, they had things that they didn't work that way. But honestly, it could have been a good game if they would have just made it better. I'm I've been I got kind of a love-hate going on with it, because it was really neat, had a lot of cool concepts, but in the end they kind of just, they didn't care enough, because there were such silly things like the Brimpmon, which was I could show you the card, but I'm lazy. But you know, they had so many things where they just didn't care about the game. They had Digimon the wrong level, all kinds of stuff like that. And you know, if the company doesn't care, why would the player keep caring? And you know, I wish this game would kind of come back in some form. You know, something like this, because it was fun. It just needed to be, it just needs some things to make it better. Like, you know, better setup, more true to Digimon. So, like, the cards actually are Digimon. Not just a card and you slap a Digimon name on it. And, you know, actually caring about what art is where. So, you know, I'm just complaining about them, but I mean, Bandai's card stuff, they've been kind of iffy about stuff, and Digimon, they had a really good series, except for season 5. Season 5 was just corn, pure corn, and they kind of, it lends itself fairly well to a card game. The problem is that they never stuck with it in any kind of form. So it'd be nice if they could, you know, give us a card game and then stick with it. And because they hadn't been sticking with it is why, you know, Bandai's notorious for dropping support for all kinds of things. So, you know, it's almost like, oh, if you buy into a game from Bandai, you're buying in it for collectible value only, because there's a good chance they're going to just drop the ball on you. You know, you're going to lose what you put in there. There's not going to be a game. It's not going to be the next Magic the Gathering, because they don't care. So, yeah, that's just kind of my little spiel. And I love the game. They just stopped caring, and rather than, you know, trying to, and I don't know who it was. I think it was actually the Bandai Japan. They were making the cards, and they were not paying attention. So, you know, it's like, geez, you guys don't care what you're putting into the game. Why should we care to buy it? And that was the biggest thing. And that's what Bandai needs to remember, is put some care into your games. And it'd be nice if they would let the, you know, Games for America, if it's especially an America-only game, let Bandai America be the producers of it, because Bandai Japan don't care. I mean, really, when you think about it, when they send toys over to us and blah, 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 basically, they don't care. There's a story about all kinds of stuff. Like you know, a toy that the Japanese public wouldn't buy, so they send it over to American Toys R Us to sell, for them to sell. And the toy they wouldn't buy it because it was off. It had the wrong color scheme. And see, that's the thing. They don't, you know, we want our games to actually make sense and, you know, make playable and be kind of somewhat a fun thing to do. Now, the Digimon CCG was pretty fun. It had a race system rather than, you know, life point system, which basically means you're only gaining points, you're not losing points. So you're kind of trying to get to a certain point level, and when you get to that point level, you win. Which also made it multiplayer was oh so fun, because the entire concept was since it was more of a race, you had people battling it out for second place after you win. So like the best player goes out first, and the second and third players are left duking it out as they try to decide who's going to be second, third, fourth, depending on how big of a group you got going. So I would like to see this game somehow come back in some way, but I don't have high hopes.